I remember I was just like sobbing, like in the middle of this dodgeball tournament. The grading system, we worked a lot on that in terms of like education, like how it's in like blocks of 10 now. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. We were the ones that would like give the child back to their parents after surgery, and that's just like the most like emotional. Like my mom, she grew up in like a little village in India. Like they still don't have electricity. College at I want to say 14 or 15. Like, she got her PhD at 19, and she was just so smart.
Welcome back to the Service Matters podcast. Today we're with Rudrani Ghoshal, who is 19 years old and graduated from HRA in 2023. She currently attends Siena College in the Albany Medical College Humanities and Medical program and was accepted to medical school at 17 years old. She's done lots of work with YVC and Operation Smile and founded a YVC Club at HRA. She led the Mayor's Youth Commission of Newport News through high school, and she was a dancer in the Indian classical style, and a musician, piano and singer. She was the co-founder of Humanity First at Siena College, and she's a tennis player and has worked with
Acing for Autism.
Acing for Autism, got it. She runs a bookstagram. Book. Can you say it?
Book reviews.
Book reviews. Got it. Okay. When did you start that?
I started that, I want to say, beginning of junior year of high school, so 3 years ago.
Okay. How's it going? What's the?
I low-key forget it exists sometimes, but I
Okay.
post every now and then. I think I've gotten a lot more busy since getting to college, so it's kind of died down a lot.
Okay.
But I'm hoping to get back into it more.
Okay. And so you started a YVC club at HRA.
Yeah.
How did you find out about YVC?
So I joined YVC when I was like 10 years old, so 5th grade. One of my friends was like, or her mom was like, oh, there's like this summer camp where you can like do service. And it was just kind of like another camp to us. Like we didn't really think much of it because my parents worked full time. So I was in like a different camp every single week of summer. So I didn't really think much of it, but like I got there, loved it. We had so much fun. And I've just did summer of service every summer since. And then like through high school, I would do like other projects too. And I don't know, I just stuck with it.
Did you know Brandon Davis? That was our last interviewee. He was okay. Bonner scholar. Worked with YVC.
I'm also a Bonner.
Oh, are you?
Oh, I forgot to write that
Oh,
down.
okay, okay. So let's see. Mayor's Youth Commission. What's that?
So the Mayor's Youth Commission is like a group of high school students, like 9th through 12th grade from Newport News. Like they can either be homeschooled, public school, or private school, and you all kind of come together to like advocate for the needs of youth in the city, to the mayor and city council. So we would go to city council meetings and advocate for our aged people. So whether it was in like education or gun violence or anything like that, we just were advocates. So I really enjoyed that, and I joined to 9th grade, and then sophomore year I was violence prevention chair, so I worked a lot on like gun violence, like advocacy and stuff. And then senior year I was chair of the commission.
Okay. What were like some of the big? You said gun violence. You were advocating for. What were some of the things you were pushing for?
So kind of like talking about the issues with like metal detectors in schools and things like that, how students were feeling unsafe and just everything. We did a lot of surveying. We did a lot of advocating to city council. It was a lot, but even like the grading system, we worked a lot on that in terms of like education, like how it's in like blocks of 10 now. Like we were the ones that did that way back when. So there's been like other stuff. A lot of people don't know about us, which is unfortunate, but we're working on kind of putting ourselves out there more.
Are you still a part of it, or?
I'm not, but I do. I'm like an alumni like council. I don't even know what it's called, but I just go and help sometimes with like interviewing incomers and stuff like that.
So I wanted to ask you as well, what kind of attracted you to the program you're currently in?
The Albany Med program?
Yes.
So I think for me, I mean, I always said that like service is my passion and like medicine is like my outlet for that. That's always kind of how I describe it to people. And so I've known that I've wanted to go into medicine since I was 10, 11 years old. And I've been so confident on it through my work with like Operation Smile and stuff. And so like this program is just kind of like a guaranteed fast track way of getting into med school. I don't need to worry about building up my resume or taking the MCAT or anything like that. I can just focus on like what matters to me and like what I enjoy. And sure, that is service and like a lot of medically related stuff, but I'm doing it for the purpose of like I enjoy it and I love doing it rather than like having this pressure on me to like keep doing it because I need to get into med school. So like because I'm committed to medicine, it's just kind of like a fast tracked like guaranteed way for me to do that.
What is Operation Smile?
So Operation Smile is an international nonprofit that works to raise money for and raise awareness for cleft conditions like cleft lips and cleft palates, and they provide free surgeries all around the world to kids with those conditions. And so I advocate for a lot of like cleft like rights, kind of like a big issue with like the cleft community is that in a lot of countries, like not necessarily in America, but in a lot of countries in Asia, Africa, it's kind of considered as like when kids are born with like a cleft lip, which is like your palate doesn't like fully form. It's very complicated, but when kids are born with that, like a lot of the times they think that like this kid is evil, that they're like a monster reincarnated, and so they're kind of shunned from society. So I went on a program to India in March of 2023, and there was a kid. He had never been to school. He's 9 years old. He was deaf, but he was never able to get any care for that because doctors didn't even want to like see him in the small village he was from. He hadn't looked in a mirror until after his surgery at 9 years old. Like he had never seen himself because people just like shun them completely out of society, and it's like heartbreaking, honestly. So just like working with that community, making them feel loved and everything is just like the most special thing in the world to me.
Were you
So.
introduced to this issue?
So, oh my God, that was like through my school, also in like fifth or sixth grade or something. I was invited to compete in a dodgeball tournament. That was like a fundraiser, and I was 11, and I was like an athletic kid, and I was like, dodgeball, heck yeah, sounds so fun. And so I would show up to this dodgeball tournament, and during like a break in the tournament or something, they were showing like a bunch of videos on like what a cleft palate is, what a cleft lip is, and like all the issues that come with it. And I remember I was just like sobbing like in the middle of this dodgeball tournament because I was just completely like brought to tears. And I remember the next week going into school, and we had an Op Smile club at my school, and so I went into the faculty sponsor, and I was like literally sobbing. Me and her were really close, and I was just like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I just remember that moment like so distinctly. Like Operation Smile is like my thing. That's my why medicine. That's like how I really got into service and just everything, because I think that like those kids are like everything to me, and like I don't know, I'm privileged enough to be able to have the opportunity to help them, so it's like why wouldn't I, you know?
For sure. So are you going, like you said, that's your why for going into medicine? Is that something that you're like focusing on, your specialty? Is it something you want to do? Or?
Yeah, so I mean, who knows, things might change once I get to med school and residency, whatever, but right now I'm interested in like facial reconstructive, like plastic surgery. And I don't want to have like a practice regular 9 to 5. That bores me a lot. I kind of want to like do that like half the time, but the other half of the time I want to travel the world, help with Op Smile, do some free surgeries for some great kids, and I don't know, that's what I want to do with my life. So we'll see if we get there.
Traveling
Fingers
doctor.
crossed. Yeah, basically for Op Smile, yeah.
So you said you went to India as a part of Operation Smile, or?
Yeah, so there
Okay.
was a surgical program in Raipur, India. So I went there for about 2 weeks, and we did 83 surgeries or 81 surgeries, something like that. So 81 new smiles. It was like the most life-changing experience. It was amazing to get to know the kids, the families. I went with one other high schooler, Andrew Luxick. He goes to UVA now, but the two of us were like the ones to hang out with the kids before surgery, after surgery. We taught post-op care, we taught CPR, how to brush your teeth, how to wash your hands, because in a lot of these places, like, that's not a thing that people are aware that they have to do. So just like health education, we did a lot of, and we were the ones that would like give the child back to their parents after surgery, and that's just like the most like emotional, like heartwarming experience. So that's what we did there.
Okay. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Can you talk about some of the projects that you did with YVC, like either through the club that you started, how that kind of came to be, and then summer of service?
Yeah, so we did a lot of can structure,
Okay.
a lot of can structure. I mean, for the number of years I've been with YVC, I think I've been to like every single site that we work with. My first site was the Gardens of Warwick. I remember that so distinctly because we were playing bingo with the elderly, and me and my friend, we were with this woman who fell asleep mid bingo, and we just kept playing for her, and it was so fun. And she would wake up every now and then, and she'd just be overjoyed that we were having as much fun as we were. But I don't even remember it that well. But I don't know. I think that was like when I was like, oh my god, YVC is so much fun. Like this is it. Um, like done stuff with chats, obviously, food bank, Grove Christian Outreach. I don't even know, SPCA, like just everything, a lot.
So where did your founding of the club come in? Was that like at the beginning of your introduction to YVC, or towards the end?
So I founded the club my junior year
Okay.
of high school. So throughout middle school, my involvement with YVC was mostly limited to just like the summer camps, summer of service. But once I got to high school, freshman sophomore year, there was a lot of other stuff going on in my life with like dance and stuff like that. But so was still kind of just doing the summer camps and one or two projects here or there. But junior year, after kind of my whole dance phase was not over, but the bulk of it was kind of done. I just had a lot more time, and I was like, what are the things I care about? How can I be more committed to them? And those two things were YVC and Op Smile. And so for YVC, I was like, why don't we have a club? Because like there's so many school clubs. Like I want to do can structure. Like I want to do all these things. And so I founded the club. I got one of my friends, Celine. She was also on YAB with me. Um, she was my vice president, and we just started the club, and it was really fun. We were the biggest club at HRA the first year, which was insane. Because like year one, like you wouldn't expect it to be like the biggest, but it was, and people loved it, and we got the middle school involved. So now there's a middle school club too. We did that my senior year. We did a lot of making dog toys, and we did birdhouses, and we made a lot of cards, and we made a lot of those like no-sew blankets, and we did a lot of stuff. And we did a lot of like fundraising and drives to donate to like sites that we work with and stuff like that. But yeah.
What kind of drew you to can structure? You talked about you did that a lot, and just kind of the mission of YVC. Why is it so important to you?
I think for YVC, because again, like service is like my biggest passion in life. I think that inspiring kids to volunteer and give back to their community when they're privileged enough to do so is like one of the most important things. Because again, it's like it's a privilege that I'm able to serve. It's not like, oh, is it like fun? How does it benefit me? Like sure, you get benefits from serving others, but I think that we're just in such a place of privilege to even be able to do service that it's like why not. And I think that instilling that value in kids from like a young age is really important. And I think that YVC does it in a really fun way that's really engaging and useful for kids, not only for the community, but building those career skills and everything like that. Like the values within service that like I've gained from YVC, like I'll carry with me like through the rest of my journey and whatever I'm doing, whether it's medicine or Op Smile or anything. I think that YVC teaches you those core values really well. And for Can Structure, again, like it's just such a fun way to get kids involved because I mean, if you just walk up to a kid and be like, "Hey, you want to help out other people and get nothing back for yourself," really, like, it's not really appealing. But like through can structure and doing stuff like that, you can kind of see how like you having fun and you just putting in a little bit of effort is like can be life changing for a lot of those families that are getting all those cans of food. So it's just like a fun way to get people engaged with service, I think.
So you said you were very committed to dance during your ninth and 10th grade year, and then kind of
Yeah.
got away from it.
Sort of. So, I did an Indian classical dance called Bharatanatyam. It's like the oldest dance form in the world. It's like 6,000 years old. And in India, it was typically used for like storytelling and that's how people passed on stories. And so I started doing that when I was like 3 or 4 years old, so really, really young. Typically, people start when they're like 7, 8. So I graduated a lot younger than everybody else did from like my dance academy. And so the graduation is like this 3 hour like solo dance performance called an Arangetram, and it's like you train for like 2 years. So I'd have to run like 5 miles every single morning. I was on a diet for 2 years. Like it was crazy. I had 3 hours of dance every single day, 8 hours Saturday, 8 hours Sunday. It was absolutely wild. And so that's why I was like so occupied during my freshman sophomore year because that's when I was like training for that big performance. And so I did that. I want to say like the middle of my sophomore year. I'm not sure exactly when, but I did my Audingithram then. So after that, dance kind of died down, and then I was a dance instructor. So I went back to my old academy, and I was a teacher there my junior, senior year. So I was still dancing, still love dance. I still do dance. I'm on a dance team at Siena, but it was less of like nonstop training for like a graduation. Now I was helping like other students do the same. So
Can you talk about the importance of that graduation to you, to your family? Why were you so committed to it?
yeah, so I think that I don't know how to do this without getting into like my whole parents like backstory, but both my parents are immigrants. I mean, technically I am too, but both my parents immigrated out of India, and so we're the only ones in our family that live outside of India. Everyone else is still there, so it's just me, my mom, and dad. And I think for them, moving out, a big concern for them was me staying connected to my culture and my heritage and everything like that. And me dancing was a really important way of keeping in contact because especially in suburban Virginia where we live, there's not a huge brown community like there is, but just dancing helped me just be surrounded by kids who looked like me, who had the same values as me. I think it's important to just be surrounded by your culture too, and so I think that's what it was initially at first. And I'm the only dancer in my family too, and so it was just like a really big deal for me to have graduated, to have come so far, and especially because I was so much younger. I think I was 15 or 16. I was like the youngest graduate like ever from my dance school, and that was really important for my parents. Like obviously for myself too. Like I worked really hard and I love it so much, but I think for my parents, just like I don't know. I think that was the happiest I ever saw them. Like my graduation day for that, because it was just kind of like, we raised our kid in England and America, and here she is like connected to her culture, more brown than she is not, and I think that was just like the most important thing for them. I think.
Why do you feel like being connected to your culture and being surrounded by people like you or had the similar values to you? Why do you think that's so important?
I think part of it is just solidarity. I think a little bit, and I think culture gives you your values. And my family's pretty traditional. Like my parents have done so much in their lives; they've been through so much, and it's just like staying connected to my family and staying connected to my culture is super important. And I think in Indian culture, especially, like your family friends are your family. Like there's no distinction. Like I don't even know. I just think it's really important they're all like family. Like the entire brown community here is like a family away from home, I guess, to me.
So you said you lived in England prior to coming to America.
Yeah, so I was born in England, and then we moved to New York when I was 5 or 6, and then we moved to Virginia when I was 7 or 8, around there. And so I've been here ever since. But
How do you
yeah.
think those changes like impacted you?
Um, I think I got to see a lot of cultures. Both my parents travel a lot for work, so they would take me to a bunch of different countries too. And so we're a traveling, spontaneous family. And so I just think seeing other cultures, being exposed to other cultures, even within the country, like I think that Virginia and New York are so completely different. Even just being there for like a year now in college, it's just like just being surrounded by different people. You learn a lot about people, and you understand how to better serve them and help them. And serving in different communities is really important as well. And I just think being aware of the world around you is important.
All right, so kind of going to your college now. How has your college experience been? You're a year in, right?
I'm going in my sophomore year.
You're in your sophomore year. So how has your college experience been? How has service impacted the way you've decided to live your life, or yeah, just
Oh, that's such a hard question. That's what is my entire life? Like that's such a hard question to answer. Um, so I go to Siena College in the Albany Medical College Humanities and Science program. Um, so every BSMD program is a little bit different. Most of them each have like their own focus. So the RPI program is research focused. The one at Union College is focused on business and health administration, but the Siena College program one is focused on humanities and service, and that was just a perfect fit for me. So everyone in the program, there's 15 of us in each of the classes, so there's about like 40 to 50 overall because some people don't make it all the way through, but all of us are equally as committed to service and medicine, and I can pretty confidently say that for almost all of us, Like, it's the same thing where it's like service is our passion, medicine is our outlet. And so it's just really nice to be surrounded by people that are so like-minded, not in like in terms of identity, but in terms of values, which I think is really great. Um, and so I co-founded the Humanity First Club at Siena College this past semester. And Humanity First is an organization that works on international disaster aid relief. So right now, with like the ongoing crisis in Gaza, we're doing a lot of fundraising for that. And work for that. So it's just like, God, humanities is in everything. And I'm in the Bonner program as well, so I'm a Bonner leader at Siena. And my site this past year has been Friends of Recovery New York. So we do a lot of advocating for bills and rights for people in long-term recovery from substance use disorders. So that's been really meaningful as well. And just, again, being in the Bonner program, surrounded by people that care so much about others, is just amazing. So.
Can you talk little bit about your work in the Bonner program, how you got connected, your value or and the importance you place on the mission that you're kind of going after?
Yeah, so again, like I think just the overall mission is service. It's so hard to describe it because I think every organization is so different. But how I joined the Bonner program, I remember I hadn't even gotten into Siena yet. It was like way before I even submitted my application. But I was doing research like on the college, what's up with it, because I hadn't really heard of it that much before. I just saw that they had a BSMD program that kind of piqued my interest. But my why Siena is like Siena is technically like a Franciscan Catholic school, sort of, not really, but sort of. And so service is a really big part of like the college as a whole. And I remember kind of being interested in that, kind of went into like a research rabbit hole, found the Bonner program. And I was like, yeah, this is really cool. So I just kind of applied. I didn't know if I was going to even go to Siena because I was only going to go if I got into the BSMD because I didn't want to be that far away from home for no reason. But I had applied to the program, got in, and then when I accepted to Siena, I think the Bonner program was one of the things I was most excited for because I think that I did so much like nonprofit work here in Hampton Roads, and now moving to a different state, I was like, how am I going to get involved? I need to start from scratch because like all the organizations I'd been with, I'd been for like 4+ years, so I was kind of like grounded in them. So I was kind of worried about that, but Bonner really gave me like a good community that I could serve and made me aware of a lot of different issues that are in New York as well. And so, yeah, just been doing that.
We're about 25 minutes. We got about 5 minutes left.
How was restarting, I guess you could call it? You said, you're kind of grounded in these organizations, focused on specific issues, and then you have to completely shift your view to something different. How was that transition?
I wouldn't say it's a complete transition because I'm still doing a lot with YVC, with Op Smile, with the Mayor's Youth Commission. Like, I haven't left any of these organizations behind. I've just kind of found new ones, more people to serve, more people to help, and I don't know. It's been great, honestly.
Okay. So you said you're a tennis player, training for a marathon. Where do you find time to trying to, between service, college, trying to fit in, other things in your life?
I think that while serving others, helping others is great. I think taking care of yourself is also super important, and especially going into medicine with med school residency, it's just so hard. You got to take care of yourself. And so for me, that looks like finding time or making time in my day to journal, go for a run, be outside, read a book, just take care of myself because that's equally as important as serving others. You can't pour from, what is it, an empty cup, something like that?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess, is there anything else you'd like to share personally with the world?
I don't know. Can I yap about my parents a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh my God. Okay, my parents are like the coolest people I know. They're my Y service at the very beginning. I talk about them too much. People are always like, "Oh my God, your parents are so cool." They are very cool. So my mom, she grew up in like a little village in India. Like, they still don't have electricity, running water, plumbing. She was the first girl in her family to go to school at all. And so she's the youngest of a lot of siblings, but she was the first one to kind of make it because she was just a genius. Like, she's so smart. She moved out of the house when she was 8 years old to go to school. She graduated college at, I want to say 14 or 15.
Wow.
Like, she got her PhD at 19, and she was just so smart, but she was like a woman in STEM, 19 years old in India. No one's going to take her seriously, so that's why she came to England. And then my dad, he grew up in a slum in Kolkata or Bilaspur. So he was homeless adjacent, shall we say, for the majority of his life. But he was a really hard worker, and he had to kind of support his family because his dad passed away when he was really young, so he was taking care of his mom and sister and stuff. But he, again, also very smart. Not as smart as my mom, but pretty smart. He was able to go to college on a scholarship. He always tells me, like, that was like the first time he bought a pair of shoes was to go to school, like to go to college. Like I can't even like imagine that. And he would tell me about how like he couldn't afford textbooks and stuff like that. So one of his friends, the summer before, he would like take an empty notebook and his friend's textbook and literally copy down every single page of the textbook for the year ahead. And like, so my parents, again, have been through a lot. And my dad, he ended up doing his PhD at Cambridge in England. He was given that opportunity. And both my parents were then working in England at the time, which is where they met. And now my mom's working on building a school in her village for women. And so growing up being surrounded by that, you can see how service kind of fell into my life because my parents were so committed to it as well. And they both work at Jefferson Lab now. And my mom does a lot for women in STEM, women in education and stuff like that. So my mom's a big advocate. And my dad, he works on building houses for people in like the slum that he used to live in and putting their kids through college because college is a lot cheaper in India. Expensive for like India standards, but here it's like $1,000, maybe $2,000 like dollars if you like convert it. So he like works to put their kids through college, and I remember being like 4 or 5 years old, and I would go with him to interview these little kids and like stuff like that. And so they put me into service, and like they were the ones that like initially instilled that value, which is why I was like, I don't want to talk about anything service related without mentioning them because like I would not be who I am without them at all. They're so committed to service. They inspire me so much, especially my mom. She's absolutely amazing, so smart, so dedicated, always puts others before themselves, both of them. So I just wanted to add that.
I have one quick question. So you kind of talk about some of the values, cultural values,
Yeah.
and obviously these family values. If you were going to sum some of those things up that you think have led to the success of your family and you, what are some of those core values that you think kind of rise to the top? I think you mentioned one toward the end, kind of like, about with your mother and, kind of things that are more important than just her type thing. But I'd be interested, what are some of the values that make your family so successful?
I would just say understanding. Like, empathy is kind of included in that, kindness is included in that. But I would just say, like, understanding, just like coming from a place of looking through other perspectives that aren't just your own, whether that's like culturally, financially, socioeconomically, just in any way, think about others before yourself.
Yeah, there's values. I love that. So you said like empathy and yeah, I love that concept. Story is a great story, and I love all of it. But,
Yeah.
Yes, we'll ask the final question. We kind of ask the same question at the end for everybody. So the question is, what is the service way to you?
Oh, that's a hard one. Just one word?
No, it can be.
Okay.
It can be
What is the service way to me? Thinking about others before yourself, realizing that being able to serve is a privilege and not wasting your privilege, use it for good. Yeah.
Thank you. We'll wrap it up. Thank you so much.
Okay.
yeah, thank you. Your story is great. I love your family story. And,
Yeah, my mom's writing a book
Oh, really?
about her life.
Oh,
Yeah.
so she sounds incredible.
Oh my God, she's amazing.
19 PhD.
She was she was like the record holder for youngest woman in STEM in India, or like youngest woman with like a PhD in STEM in India for like many years. Because like 19 years old, like PhD in like something physics, electromagnet. I don't know. Whatever. I'm going into medicine, not physics.
That's incredible.
But,
No,
yeah.
thank you for giving your time and talking about service and you live it out and appreciate it. It's fun working with you at Chats and
Yeah.
thanks for this one. I look forward to some more stuff down the road.
Oh my God. Yeah, of course. More. I think I'm coming to a couple more summer service weeks. So see you then.
Welcome back to the Service Matters podcast. Today we're with Rudrani Ghoshal, who is 19 years old.
You guys are say your name so people
Rudrani Ghoshal.
Ghoshal.
Rudrani.
Literally, I asked you how to say it, and then
Dude, it wasn't Rudrani or Ghoshal. It was like, we're here with Rahini, Cormac, all right, good to see you. No, Rudrani
Ghoshal.
Ghoshal.
Ghoshal.